We have some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The San Francisco 49ers and Jauan Jennings stalemate, holdout, whatever you want to call it. It's over with. They have come to terms on a revised contract, and we will break down what that means and what that looks like for the San Francisco 49ers and Jauan Jennings moving forward. But as it stands right now, the 49ers and Jauan are moving forward. So let's talk about it right now. But you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat, smash that like button, and let's get into it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, guys, the San Francisco 49ers and Jauan Jennings, I guess the contract standoff, hold out, hold in, whatever you want to call it, is officially over as the San Francisco 49ers agree to a revised contract. And I do want to make it very clear that this is a revised contract and not a new deal or a contract extension. It is a built-in incentive-laden deal. So let's take a look at it, shall we? So Adam Schefter just reported that the 49ers have added on $3 million in play time incentives to Jauan Jennings' already existing contract. So what that means is that this isn't added years. This isn't an extension. It's taking his existing contract and adding more incentives to it so that if Jauan Jennings hits, and we don't know what the incentive breakout is, whether it's a yardage total, touchdown total, catches total, could be a combination of a bunch of different things. But effectively, there are now new triggers that are built into Jauan Jennings' contract that will allow him to potentially earn up to $3 million additional dollars to his contract. So where he could have maxed out at 7.5 this season, he now has the opportunity to earn up to $10.5 million. And instantly, the way that I'm thinking about this is that this is a great move for the 49ers, because I think in reality, the 49ers signed him to a contract just this last offseason, not directly in the rear view, but a year removed. So heading into the 2024 offseason, 49ers signed him to a 2-year extension, right? And I think the 49ers' intention when signing him to that 2-year deal was to have him play out on that 2-year deal. Well, Jauan Jennings was thrust into a bigger role last season, nearly amassed 1,000 receiving yards, kind of turned into the 49ers wide receiver one, basically, with Brandon Ayuk going down, Deebo Samuel just being a shell of himself, and, Ricky Pearsall coming on late. So Jauan, he bumped up into a bigger role, and he produced. He played pretty well. And so heading into this offseason, he clearly wanted a new contract. He clearly wanted to get paid like the rest of the wide receivers, and I totally understand. You look around at the wide receiver market, the market has completely exploded, and guys are getting paid left and right. So why wouldn't Jauan Jennings want to get paid either? I totally understand it. I get it. Makes a lot of sense. But again, based on hearing the 49ers and just my read on the situation was I don't anticipate that the 49ers want to pay Jauan Jennings. And so I never really expected a new contract for Jauan. We had heard from Tim Kawakami that maybe Jauan Jennings was angling or wanting somewhere in the range of $20 million per year on average, or even higher than that. And I think that was something that we all just kind of were like, that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't fit with where the 49ers are at currently, or what I would even consider Jawan's true value. Now, maybe what Jawan does and what the beauty of this kind of contract does from a 49ers perspective is that it's an incentive based upgrade. So he only gets these earnings of an additional 3 million if he goes out and performs. And so it's a win-win in my opinion for the San Francisco 49ers. They didn't have to pay and extend him, give him a new contract. They didn't really change a whole lot. They didn't even give him guaranteed dollars. They just built in incentives. So if you perform at a higher level, we will then pay you. So if Jauan Jennings is performing at a higher level, that's a great thing for the San Francisco 49ers. So it's a win-win. He earns that $3 million. It's not paid to him directly. It's not given to him right now. It's something that he has to go out and work for. And for the 49ers, that's a good thing. So what I do anticipate, though, what this does mean to me and what this does signal, and I do think that it should signal this as well to the rest of the San Francisco 49ers fan base, is that this is likely the last year that Jauan Jennings will be wearing red and gold for the San Francisco 49ers. So just keep that in mind when you're watching Third and Jauan out there doing what he does for the San Francisco 49ers this season. This will likely be a very, very strong indication that Jauan will not play for the 49ers moving forward. Now, it's not a foregone conclusion, but I would have, if I had to put my money on it and have to guess, I would definitely say that what Jauan is going to be angling for is getting to the open market and creating a bit of a bidding situation where that could really up his value. And I just don't see the 49ers paying that. I think there's a reason why the San Francisco 49ers drafted, Ricky Pearsall, where they drafted him. They drafted Jacob Cowing. They drafted Jordan Watkins. They have kind of been preparing for this. That's been my read on the situation so far is the 49ers knew eventually they're going to have to be moving on from a couple wide receivers. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk didn't really know. So they had to then go and draft Ricky to make sure that they could be insulated a little bit. And I think right now when we look at the 49ers wide receiver room, and I know it kind of felt like a little bit of a head scratcher that the 49ers took a wide receiver in the first round just a year ago. But now it looks like it's making a lot of sense because Ricky is slated to be the wide receiver one heading into this season. So Ricky is definitely going to be taking on a much bigger role for the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, Jauan Jennings will probably be slated as your wide receiver 2, and then we'll see who fills in behind him because obviously we've seen all the roster shuffling that has been going on. Marquez Valdez-Scantling from the practice squad now to the active, Russell Gage from the active to the practice squad. The 49ers trade for Sky Moore. Jordan Watkins a little banged up. So it's going to be an interesting one, but I'm glad that the 49ers were able to get this taken care of. I'm glad that it worked for Jauan in some sense. I'm glad that they were at least able to come to terms and get this thing taken care of. So at least for now, what it appears is there won't be a ton of crazy carryover heading into the season. We don't have to worry about any more drama. We don't have to be paying attention in practice to, what wide receiver is dapping up which coach and general manager. It is what it is. It's water under the bridge now that the 49ers have been able to get this taken care of and move beyond it. So I'm very, very glad about that. Um, what I do find interesting, and before I switch gears onto any other topic, because I do see another topic that is very curious to me. Before we get into that, thoughts, comments, questions on Jauan Jennings and everything that he's been able to do with the 49ers. Throwback says JJ is a Seahawks killer. Yeah, I think this is great motivation because honestly, I think I've talked about how this is probably a win from the team perspective. You know, this isn't the biggest win I would say for Jauan Jennings and his camp. If the reports were true and Jauan values himself and his agents value themselves in the range of 20 plus million, then this isn't a win for Jauan. It's more of just it's more of a concession for Jauan. So, credit to the 49ers. They obviously held their ground. They gave the concession to Jauan, but I would have to assume Jauan probably not super thrilled about this one. Just because, again, it's not a contract extension. It's not even additional guaranteed dollars. It's an incentive. He still has to go out and earn it. He still got to go out and do it. It's not like he was paid or really given like a raise, like a traditional raise. It's like, we'll give you a raise if you earn it, kind of a thing. So it all depends on how you look at it. And I would have to assume a majority of the fan base is going to look at this from the 49ers perspective. And if you're looking at this from the 49ers perspective, it's definitely a win. It's definitely a win. I would have to say that. I love Jauan. I think Jauan's a great player. But I believe he's 28, 29 years old. I don't think he's an ex wide receiver. I think he's more of a role player as a wide receiver. Now, a great one at that. I love what Jauan brings to the table, his blocking ability, his contested catch ability, what he does on third downs, his ability to break tackles, get yards after catch, red zone threat, all of those things. He provides a ton. But honestly, like I'm totally okay with Jauan Jennings heading into free agency this year, going out, getting a bag, getting paid, go for it, man. Like, get what you deserve, get what you earn. He's a former 7th-round draft pick out of Tennessee. He was actually a quarterback starting out. So if this guy can go out and get a big time contract in free agency from another team, there'll be no hard feelings. It'll be thank you for your service. We appreciate how you represented the red and gold. Let's get this year done with. Let's go out here and perform. Let's go out here, add a couple more dollars to that contract in free agency. And that's really the incentive for Jauan. The incentive is to hit his playtime incentives, but also to go out and go try out for he's playing for 31 other NFL teams this season. So yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting to see how it all breaks down. I did see this comment though. They I'd rather pay Colton McKivitz. I feel like people's tune is changing to Colton McKivitz. Am I mistaken? Am I reading the room incorrectly? Are 49er fans somehow all of a sudden coming around to Colton McKivitz? You could tell me in the chat. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I had mentioned, Colton McKivitz this offseason, I said it is probably in a negotiation that no one's talking about. This guy, he switched his representation at the beginning of the off season, and I don't think anyone really was paying attention because no one pays attention to Colton McKivitz. But about a week ago, so Colton McKivitz switched to Range Sports and was, from my understanding, repped by Kyle Strongen, the same agent who repped Brock Purdy in that deal. Like a week ago, he switched. He's no longer with Range Sports. He's now with Wasserman. So so got through the offseason. No new deal for Colton McKivitz. He switched agents again. So what that tells me is that maybe things didn't go according to plan for McKivitz with the contract negotiation this offseason. So he switched representation. I think he spoke about his contract this year and mentioned that both sides are open to return. But if the 49ers were going to pay Colton McKivitz, they would have paid him this offseason. So what that tells me is Colton McKivitz is going to be a free agent this year. There's no way the 49ers are going to be able to compete for Colton McKivitz in free agency. And the perfect example of that is what the Chiefs paid for a backup tackle in Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore is not starting for the Chiefs, mind you. I think they paid him like $15 million a year to be a backup. He was a backup with the 49ers. I tried to tell people like, oh, Jalen Moore is better than Colton McKivitz. I'm like, no, he's not. He is not. He's serviceable. But he's not better. There's a reason why Colton McKivitz is starting. And I wasn't too particularly impressed with Jalen Moore when he filled in last season. He filled in. He was serviceable, but I was shocked when Jalen Moore received his contract. So I would have to assume whatever Jalen Moore got, expect Colton to get double that. And I don't think the 49ers are going to pay that. So I do think this is also going to be the last season with Colton McKivitz. Colton McKivitz will get paid this offseason, but it won't be by the San Francisco 49ers. It will be elsewhere. So what the fascinating thing about that is the simple fact that, you know, what are the 49ers going to do at tackle next year? But I guess that's a question that we don't have to answer now. That would be something that we'll have to cross that bridge later on, you know, whether they reset their offensive line with a bunch of rookies. It's going to be interesting, but again, to Mr. Mumble's point, that's next year's problem. We'll worry about that next year. It is what it is. The writing's on the wall. This will be Colton McKivitz last year with the 49ers. I'm okay with that. I'm sure McKivitz is okay with that because he's going to get absolutely paid in free agency. So we're just like Mr. Mumble said, we'll cross that bridge at a later date. But today's obvious news and story is about Jauan Jennings getting paid, sort of, kind of, at least resolving the dispute over a new contract. I guess that's one way that you could put it. It's been taken care of. It's been resolved. And the San Francisco 49ers don't have to have this cloud over their heads as they get prepared to go to Seattle and face off against the Seahawks. So not bad at all. I'll take it. I think it's a solid move. So I'm good. I'm good with this. The 49ers are good with this. We'll see how Jauan Jennings plays this year. And let's go. 100%. He will be in the lineup. So I do believe that this is a almost 100% confirmation that Jauan Jennings will be playing for the 49ers week 1 in Seattle. It will happen. My season prediction, I had them being around 12 wins this year. I think 11-12 wins is reasonable. I think some of those losses will be potentially due to some injury concerns. But yes, I do think that the 49ers will be an 11-12 win team and do just enough to be able to get into the playoffs. I think they have a great chance to compete for the division. I'm not going to say it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to win the division, but I do think they're in the mix 100%. So I think that there's a lot of pessimism around the San Francisco 49ers this year, which is fine. I get it. But I think the 49ers have an opportunity to surprise this year. Ooh, score on Sunday. I got to think about that a little bit. Might have to do prediction Friday with that one. I'll have to think about what that score is going to be. Michael, defensive rookie of the year. He'll have a chance, man. He's going to play a lot. I think that's one thing that we've confirmed very early on in training camp. Michael is going to play a lot of snaps. He is going to be on the field. He is going to be used. The 49ers are not going to be shy to use the rookie. And again, his biggest thing as well is health. But yes, he is. He definitely is in the plans for the San Francisco 49ers this upcoming season. So yeah, 100%. I definitely expect Michael to be in that mix. He'll have the opportunities. Let's see if he takes advantage of it. So we'll see, baby. But appreciate everyone for tapping in. JJ gets a contract revision, but it's good news for the San Francisco 49ers. Make sure you smash that like button on your way out. Appreciate all you guys. I'm out for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.